Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of YouTube Office Hours, where I answer questions that people leave me in my comment section as honestly as I possibly can. If you'd like to ask a question, go ahead and leave it in the comment section and I'll get to it in the next episode. If you're new to the channel, my name is Steve, Uncle Steve, Meta, or your brother from a different mother, and I'm an L7 principal engineer. On this channel, I give you all of the information that I wish I had when I was coming up, and since you're my buddy, it'll be free of charge. If you'd like to support the channel, check out my Patreon, where there's a tier of service where you can ask me a question directly and get a guaranteed response from yours truly. All right, let's get started. Innocent asks, you said that you've been coding for more than 30 years. How old are you? Well, I'm 40 years old. I started coding in the late 80s. Both of my parents were electrical engineers. My first computer was an IBM XT8088 with two 5¼ floppy drives and no hard disks, 640K of RAM. I was coding with a basic interpreter. Let's see, it was either GW Basic. Yeah, I think it was GW Basic or Basica. Back then, if you wanted to code, you had to put the line number in front of your line of code. So it's been quite a while since I've been coding. Full Stack Friend asks, what kind of career approach do you recommend for people who landed their first software engineering role later in life? I started my first engineering role 2 years ago at age 30, and I can't help but feel I'm always behind my coworkers who started in tech right out of college. Well, Full Stack Friend, what they say is comparison is the thief of joy. It doesn't matter how old you are, and you really should attempt as much as you can not to compare yourself with others. People are living longer and longer and working for longer and longer. And so the difference between somebody that, leaves school at 20 to 23 versus somebody that started when they were 28, that difference actually shrinks, like relative to the entire time that you've been working. When you're in a meeting and interacting with others, nobody knows how old you are, right? I've seen a bunch of people that look like they're 40 that are actually 25, and a bunch of people that are 25 look like they're actually 40. And so don't worry about catching up to people or that you should be in a particular spot in your life. Just worry about you and your growth. From my personal experience, I think that there's much less ageism in our industry than people actually think that there is. Sism asks, hey Meta, what would you say to a job interview when asked, why did you quit your last job if the reason was a bad manager? Well, Sism, most people aren't gonna ask why you quit your last job. And I think in most places, asking about why you left your last position is actually illegal. So I wouldn't worry too much about people asking you about why you quit your last job. If the subject does come up though, make sure to be as diplomatic as possible. The last thing that you want to be is pegged as somebody that only has bad things to say about their previous job. Because if you get hired into this company and eventually leave, they're gonna be worried about all of the things that you would say about this prospective company. So make sure that you're super diplomatic about what you say. A couple of things that are probably true in your situation are that you want to grow in a specific area. You felt like you were a big fish in a small pond. Your prior team wasn't giving you what you needed in terms of where you wanted to go in your career. Make sure that you're not bashing your prior manager. Johnny Bravissimo asks, so I have a question. If I have a project that I wanted to start in regards to building a platform, how and where can I find software engineers and developers to jump on board? Also, what's the best way to share my dream without being copied or stolen? Well, Johnny, I think that's a good question. And it's something that I've been meaning to address on this channel. Ideas are a dime a dozen. You ever have somebody that comes to you and they're like, I have this amazing idea for the app. You write it, and then we'll share in the profits. The thing that actually matters is implementations. Your stick-to-itness to actually take a project from conception all the way over to delivery. What I would recommend to you is to concentrate on selling your idea to folks and not really guarding these ideas. If it's a good idea, if you can get people excited about the thing that you'd like to build, you should really try to position yourself in a way everybody could benefit from the project and everybody can sort of put their name against it. And if you do a good job of bringing people together, getting them excited, and actually leading the project, you'll get credit, not just for your contribution, but everybody will give you credit for demonstrating leadership on this project. If you sort of hoard all of your ideas and, kind of give different people different aspects of the project, well, one, you're very unlikely to get it done. And two, people are unlikely to jump on board a project where they don't have the big picture. Hopefully that helps. Jason Hahn asks, what kind of project should I work on if I want to work for FANG, currently in undergrad? How can I get an interview when I'm not a CS major? I created a Twitter clone and a basic game for iOS. What should I work on? Well, Jason, there's not necessarily an archetype of project that you should put on your resume that would make FAANG companies more likely to hire you. You should try to do as many projects as you can where you're working with others. That will give you the type of experience that gets noticed. Toy projects where you are doing everything, soup to nuts from beginning to end. Those projects are good, but really projects where you're contributing to a team, even if it's just another person, tell prospective employers that you're somebody that can be a team player. You can contribute where it's needed, not necessarily where you want. 3, that you can contribute to something that's sort of larger than the sum of its parts. So if you have a set of projects where you've already completed it, I'd really recommend doing a sort of project where you're collaborating with others. Mr. Dude asks, if you know well about the design of systems of projects you have been working on and know about system design stuff but have never been included in a design phase of a project, can you appear for an interview which asks for experience in system design? Well, Mr. Dude, it's a good start. It's good to understand the design of an existing system. If you've been contributed to a large system, you might do well in a system design interview if you grabbed a couple of books. But the best way to prepare for a system design interview is to actually build a bunch of systems and then sort of learn from the design choices that you had made. That's the best. In absence of that, I think that you can appear in a system design interview and you might do well, but the type of experience that you'll bring to the interview question is going to be something where it's sort of bookish, it's sort of academic. And I think that the best system design conversations that you can have during an interview are ones where you're able to draw from your experience and to know at a fundamental level, maybe because it blew up in your face, why to make one choice over another choice and what sort of things to keep in mind. So Mr. Dude, go ahead and try. It won't hurt. But the best type of preparation for a system design interview is actually building systems. So I would do as much as you can in your current role to get into a spot where you can contribute on that dimension. Daniel Grooms asks, how do you find work that you actually want to work on? The problems we solve in the process of our work has hit ultimate boredom. I thought we were changing the world. Instead, we're making ads and meme coins. Well, Daniel, it's icing on the cake if you're working on something where there's a sort of mission, where you feel like you're changing the world. The vast majority of the work that's in industry, however, is stuff that makes money. So meme coins, advertising makes money hand over fist, selling products, selling services. That's the reality of the world. The things that people think are valuable are the things that sort of make money. And so I think a healthier way to take a look at it is not necessarily because of boredom. It's not necessarily because of the things that you're working on, not necessarily the impact that you make on the world, but can you grow in your role and learn how to do something that you currently don't know how to do, that other people and prospective employers think are valuable skills? If you're working with people that you think are awesome and you're growing your skills that other people think are valuable, I think that you're in a really good spot. Trying to go to a place where people are making an impact, where you're changing the world, I think that you're likely to not find it, but if you do, you may not be sort of growing as a person. And so changing the world is sort of like priority 3, priority 4. There are very few places where you can actually do that. You want to be in a spot where you can sort of make an impact, grow yourself, work around other people that are awesome, and then at 5 o'clock when you're done with the day, close your computer and then go hang out with your family or go do some cool stuff. I really think that's the way to think about it. All right, Ernie Ledesma asks, great video. Notice you speak very well and concise. Can you go over how to explain things better in a professional setting? Well, Ernie, you should see how many outtakes that I have in my videos and how much scripting and other work goes into it. What I found is the best way to communicate is to really understand the ideas that you're trying to communicate to others. If I do a bunch of writing, if I've written a bunch of documents on something or spilled a bunch of ink or tried to explain it a bunch of time to others, that I typically sort of efficient in the way that I'm communicating these ideas to others. And so I would just say practice. Practice on a rubber duck, practice on some of your coworkers, but really, practice is the best way to sort of get better at this sort of stuff. If you're not practicing, then how are you going to get better? If you'd like to get better at things like public speaking, interviews, and other forums where you actually have to speak in front of other people in a professional setting, get a camera and record yourself talking about something that you know really well. When you get a camera shoved into your face, it's really uncomfortable, it's really anxious, and it's very difficult. But once you get used to that, once you feel like you're talking to a friend or somebody, you know, like an acquaintance or something like that, I found that it gets easier and easier over time. And if you can do that, you'll have no problems talking to people in a professional setting. That's all the time that I had for you guys today. If you'd like to ask a question, go ahead and leave it in the comment section. If you'd like to see my previous office hours, you can find that right here. And thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a great day.